This is Armageddon, World War I, Hell in the Mud. After the failed offensives of 1914, it becomes clear the war will not be short. The front lines stretch endlessly, and both sides dig deeper, creating a battlefield of trenches, mud, and misery. The Western Front has become a static hell, a maze of barbed wire, sandbags, and waterlogged dugouts where men live. Fight and die 4 inches of ground. The earth is shattered by artillery and soaked in blood. The idea of open battle has vanished, replaced by attrition, endurance, and constant fear. Soldiers spend weeks in trenches filled with mud, rats, and lice. Sleep is rare, so is safety. Trench foot, caused by standing in freezing water, rots the flesh from men's feet. Amputations become common, and so does silence about the suffering. Letters home are censored, but the pain leaks through. The rats eat the dead, the lice never sleep, and the shells fall day and night. Artillery barrages pound the land without end. Shells screech overhead and explode with deafening force. The land becomes unrecognizable, a lunar landscape of craters and bones. Machine guns dominate no man's land. Every attempted advance is met with a wall of lead. Entire battalions are cut down in minutes. New weapons are introduced to break the stalemate. Poison gas is one of the most feared. Ypres. In 1915, the Germans unleash chlorine gas for the first time. French troops, unprotected, suffocate and die in agony. Soon, all sides use gas: chlorine, phosgene, mustard. Gas masks are issued, but they fail as often as they work. Mustard gas burns the skin and blinds its victims. The screams of gas casualties echo through the night, even when no shells are falling. The Battle of Verdun begins in February 1916. The German goal is not victory, but exhaustion, to bleed France white. Verdun becomes the longest battle of the war. Over 300 days, more than 700,000 men fall for a patch of ground barely 8 miles wide. The French cry they shall not pass, and they do not. But the cost is beyond comprehension. Men are buried alive by shell fire. Forts are reduced to rubble. Forests vanish, replaced by endless fields of graves. At the Somme, the British launch their own massive assault. The first day is a massacre, minus 60,000 casualties, the bloodiest day in British military history. The Somme becomes a symbol of futile slaughter. 5 months of fighting lead to over 1 million casualties, and only a few miles gained. Commanders believe they are breaking the enemy. In truth, both armies are being shattered. Every offensive follows the same grim pattern: artillery, charge, machine gun fire, retreat, repeat. The trenches remain. Shell shock becomes a new kind of wound. Men shake uncontrollably, unable to speak, move, or sleep. Some are shot as cowards. Others disappear into hospitals, forgotten. Religious faith is tested, reshaped, or abandoned. Soldiers create trench rituals, good luck charms, and superstitions to survive. The Eastern Front is still more mobile. Russia pushes into Austria-Hungary and suffers devastating losses at Gorlice. Millions are killed or captured. The Tsar's army lacks supplies, weapons, and leadership. Morale collapses. Desertions rise. Russia is bleeding to death. Meanwhile, Italy joins the Allies in 1915, hoping to gain territory from Austria-Hungary. The fighting in the Alps is brutal, cold, and futile. Italian and Austro-Hungarian troops battle in freezing mountain passes. Avalanches bury entire companies. The front freezes in place. In the Middle East, the Arab revolt begins. Led by Sharif Hussein and aided by British officer T.E. Lawrence, Arab forces rise against Ottoman control. The Ottoman Empire wages war on multiple fronts: in the Caucasus against Russia, in Mesopotamia against Britain, and at home against revolt. The British suffer a humiliating defeat at Kut. Thousands surrender to Ottoman forces, and many die in captivity. In the skies, aircraft are no longer just for reconnaissance. Dogfights begin. Pilots become heroes and legends, but life expectancy is still counted in weeks. The Zeppelin airships bomb London for the first time. Civilians now feel the war from above. Nowhere is safe. At sea, Germany resumes unrestricted submarine warfare. Merchant ships, even those from neutral nations, are sunk without warning. The RMS Lusitania is torpedoed in 1915, killing over 1,100 civilians, including Americans. The world is shocked. The war continues to consume resources, men, and hope. In Germany, the British blockade causes starvation. Britain and France, strikes and protests erupt. On all sides, governments tighten control. Dissent is crushed. Censorship grows. Propaganda replaces information. Soldiers rotate in and out of the front, but few escape its toll. Wounded men return home with shattered bodies and haunted eyes. Those who survive are changed forever. The war creates a generation that no longer believes in heroism or honor, only endurance. Music, poetry, and art begin to reflect the darkness. The age of romantic war is dead. Now it is mechanized horror. Children in cities collect scrap metal and knit socks. Others bury sons without ever seeing their faces again. Church bells are melted for ammunition. Universities become officer academies. Entire towns are emptied of men. In France, mutinies break out in 1917. Thousands refuse to return to the front. The generals restore order, but morale is fractured. In Russia, revolution brews. The Tsar's rule is collapsing. People are starving, and soldiers are abandoning the war. The home front becomes another battlefield, one of hunger, labor, and survival. The entire population is at war. In the trenches, camaraderie is everything. How? Men share rations, dig graves, and fight side by side. National identities blur in the mud. Winter brings ice and death. Frostbite joins trench foot. The wounded freeze where they fall. Spring brings more offensives, more promises of victory, more bodies. Faith in leadership fades. The war no longer makes sense to those fighting it. But still the orders come. Hospitals overflow with amputees and the shell-shocked. Some patients will never speak again. The war poisons the earth. Even now, a century later, farmers in France still unearth unexploded shells and human bones. Every soldier carries death in his pack. A letter home, a final will, a photograph stained with mud. And yet they fight, not for glory anymore, but for the man next to them. It's for survival. The guns never stop. The sky is always gray. The mud never ends. This is not just a war. This is an apocalypse of steel, fire, and silence. It is a place where time stops and life becomes endurance. And the world has still not reached the worst of it. The year is now 1917. Everything is about to change.